If you skipped a meal earlier in the day and then ate later than usual, so you have this large gap in between your meals, your liver has already taken over the process. So, meaning your liver is now dumping sugar into your bloodstream because it has noted, oh, we're not getting our predictable meal. Let me go ahead and tap into my storage, backup storage for fuel. Let me go ahead and dump this sugar into the bloodstream. So by the time you eat, your blood sugars are already high. So let's talk about it. You found a meal pattern or routine that helps keep your blood sugars in check, and you just put it on repeat. You're like, you know what? If it's not broken, I'm not going to fix it. I'm going to keep eating the same type of meals, the same portions, because I know my blood sugars respond well to this type of pattern and all is right in the world. But then on a random Tuesday, you check your blood sugars and it's higher than usual. And you're like, what is going on? I literally eat this every week, all day, every day. I don't know what I've done wrong. And so your brain immediately goes to this rabbit hole. What did I do? Was it the sauce? Was it the different bread that I used? Was it the portions? Did I slip up on measuring and all the things? You try to pick it apart because you don't understand why something that has worked for you 98 times, this 99th time, it stops working. So I want you to put your mind at ease to say, there's nothing you did wrong. Like you're not saying your plan is wrong. We got to take a view out and understand that your response to food is not a fixed number, and your glucose response to food is in reflection to what's going on inside of your body. So at the end of this episode, you will definitely understand why your blood sugars does this. It does well forever, and then this one time it messes up, and also what to do about it. So before we jump into all the things, I want to set the stage of that most people, which is not true, most people assume that their blood sugar response to a given food is fixed, meaning this meal equates to this number. That is not the case. That's not how your body works. Your glucose response to a meal is based off of what is going on in your body and what your body has to manage and handle. So if your body is, let's say, under stress, physically or emotionally, it's not going to respond to that same food the same way. If you've changed your time zone or however, it's messed up your eating schedule, your meals are not going to respond the same way. So let's walk through some of the common culprits that's causing this hiccup to happen. First is if you have seen an increase in your numbers by eating after you've eaten the same type of foods, let's do some troubleshooting. The first thing is sleep. Did you honor your sleep the night before? Even one night of disrupted sleep can increase your insulin resistance the next day because now your body is working off of longer hours of having to work and perform that it's not used to. And so, if your body is putting extra miles that it hasn't been appropriately fueled for, then it's going to start messing up your blood sugars, resulting in higher blood sugars because your insulin sensitivity it goes down and you become more resistant. So that meal that you normally work with on the first thing in the morning on a Monday morning, you eat the same type of breakfast. Now all of a sudden, you don't have good numbers. So with that said, check your sleep quality or your sleep timing, and that could be the reason why your first meal of the day causes higher spikes. Secondly, is stress. Cortisol, as many of you guys have probably heard, cortisol is the leading stress hormone. And cortisol, it basically blunts your response to insulin. It definitely makes you more insulin resistant. Even those who don't have type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, if you're under a lot of stress, you're going to have higher blood sugar numbers. And it's just your body's way of protecting you. It's thinking that you need to have more sugar in your blood to have quick energy accessible to fight or flight. So, with that said, under stress, your body is not going to prioritize metabolizing food. No, the glucose is just going to stay in your bloodstream. It's going to prioritize getting you out of its perceived danger. So checking yourself, are you under stress? Meaning, Did your lunchtime come at a time where you were bombarded with tons of emails, voicemails, or demands? Or maybe you just had a hard conversation with someone. And I have seen this on a Dexcom where my clients have been on the phone with someone and had a hard conversation and their blood sugars spike every time with this particular person or this particular topic you're talking about. So stress does have an impact on your blood sugars. So with that said, ask yourself, has it been a stressful day physically or emotionally? Third culprit is meal timing. If you skipped a meal earlier in the day and then ate later than usual, so you have this large gap in between your meals, your liver has already taken over the process. So, meaning your liver is now dumping sugar into your bloodstream because it has noted, oh, we're not getting our predictable meal. Let me go ahead and tap into my storage, backup storage for fuel. Let me go ahead and dump this sugar into the bloodstream. So by the time you eat, your blood sugars are already high. And so the blood sugars are high from the liver dumping and then also the blood sugars from the food. So you have two things weighing against you, leading to higher blood sugars because the liver start taking over because your meal timing, it got off kilter. The fourth thing is portion creep. So I see this a lot, especially for individuals who have worked my program that understand their portions. They have a meal prep system that is like on autopilot. They're just scooping and putting things together. And yes, they are pairing things the way they're supposed to. They're putting carbohydrate with the protein, they got fiber, all the things. But then slowly they start creeping up and be a little extra, little heavy handed on the rice, right? Or they may put a little extra sauce. And so those little drifts in portions is more than what your body is used to. Case in point, let's say at lunchtime, your standard portion is a half cup of rice, 4-ounce portion of protein, 2 cups of vegetables, locked in. But then you start rushing through your meal prep and you just start slapping everything through. And now that half a cup of starch that you normally have is now 3/4 of a cup. And that 2 cups vegetables that you normally have, you're like, you know what? I just eyeballed it. It's 1 cup. Now your protein, carb, and fiber ratio is completely thrown off because your portions were distorted. So you may have to go back in and look like, hold up, let me spot check my portion. And you could be you changed out your meal prep container. And the meal prep container is a little deceiving where you think, oh, it's about the same size when in fact the compartment is a little bit bigger and you're filling up the compartment. So it could be a portion creep. Same food, different portion. And the fifth culprit is you stop moving. You're not moving as much as you used to. And if you guys have worked with me, I talk about how physical activity is your second pancreas. We only have one pancreas doing all the work for our body, but we have hundreds of muscles. And so physical activity, just walking, doesn't require insulin, gives our pancreas a break, but it gives us more places to put the blood sugars. So that muscle contraction for 10 to 15 minutes after a meal, it just pulls that sugar out of your bloodstream and you didn't need insulin and your muscles were well prepared to store it. So if you have stopped walking after your meal, or maybe you start cutting your walk short because you're trying to get back to a meeting or whatever, that 10 to 15 minutes, it works wonders. But let's say you start cutting out to 5 minutes, only got 5 minutes of movement. You're really not giving yourself that protection, that glucose protection after the meal, resulting you having higher blood sugars. So ask yourself, like, am I moving less after the meals there? Number 6, your body could be fighting off something. And your blood sugars can be the first sign that your body's under some type of illness or stress because you're like, I don't know what's going on. I've been working out, I've been sleeping well, meal prep's on point, but I'm just getting higher numbers. And that could be the foreshadowing for an illness may be brewing. It could be seasonal allergies flaring up. And if you're in Texas where I am, we're always going through some type of allergy issue with mountain cedar and all the things. Or you may have a minor infection of some sort, whether that may be a sinus infection or it could be any other type of infection, a cold. So you may not be feeling well, and that could be your body's response of saying, hey, we are working really hard here, and the energy that you're providing us is not enough for us to fight off whatever we're trying to fight off. So it could be something's off with your body and you're fighting off something. It's really remarkable whenever you look at your blood sugar patterns because whenever things start leveling out, it's typically indicative that you're on the means, like you're healing, you're getting better whenever you look at your blood sugar patterns compared to your symptoms of sickness. And the last culprit is medications or supplement timing has shifted. If you take anything that will help lower your blood sugars, even the smallest change in when you take that medication can throw off your numbers. Case in point, if you're one that takes your metformin after your meal and then all of a sudden you start taking it before the meal, it may change in how you're covering the after meal breakdown of your food where you may be behind the ball versus if you take it before or with the meal, you may have better, cleaner coverage. So even just changing the timing on the medication can alter how well the medications help you to respond to the after meal blood sugar rise. So even those things can interfere. Or if you're taking, let's say, a fiber supplement with your metformin, well, the fiber supplement can trap the metformin where it can't break down. So you always need to look at any interactions these vitamins and supplements may have with your prescription medications because you may decrease the efficacy of what the medication is intended to do. So ask yourself those questions. So far, you feel like, okay, Russ, you cover all the things and I still can't figure it out. This is where you go into the comment section of the show notes here in this podcast and go ahead and book a discovery call. And if you do have a CGM, I can do a quick look at your CGM and help you pinpoint where your weak points are in your day and figure out what's going on in a particular time of day, as well as compared to your food and all that. So definitely get on my schedule for a complimentary 10 to 15 minute discovery call to figure out what's going on. Okay, so what to do after a spike? So let's say this is truly a spike. You are hanging high for 2 hours, 40 points greater than when you started. You need to bring this down. First, don't panic. One number is not a trend. A trend is something in 3 days or more and it's repeated. It happened the same thing. But one high number is not a trend. But you want to do something about it. One is let's use the muscles. The muscles is going to be the quickest way to lower your blood sugars because it's large and it can store a lot. So move your body for 10 to 15 minutes or even just some light stretching where you're putting some time and tension on those muscles. And that would definitely help bring your blood sugars down as well. Typically, for every minute that you are walking, it's a 1 point drop. So if you're walking for 10 to 15 minutes, you can lower your blood sugar about 10 to 15 points there. Drink some water. You could be dehydrated, and dehydration can definitely cause our blood sugars to spike or hang high for long periods of time because everything is concentrated. You don't have enough fluid to help push and pull the blood sugars out of your system. So definitely drink some water so that way your kidneys can help clear out the extra blood sugars. And don't skip meals, guys. I have seen this time and time again with people like, I'm already high. If I add more food on top of it, it's going to make it higher. Don't skip because your body is trying to get itself on a pattern of consistency. So eat at your next scheduled time. What would change is the composition of that meal. So since you're already riding high and your body is struggling to lower your blood sugars, let's eat insulin sensitizing foods, meaning foods that will help you stimulate more insulin production as well as respond quicker. So, what that is that protein and fiber. Fiber and protein are going to help slow down the gastric emptying, allowing your body to catch up to its insulin. But with the protein on board, it's going to make you more sensitive to your insulin so that way a little bit can go a long way. So you may eat more protein and fiber rich meals and smaller amount of carbohydrates at that next meal, but we want to keep the pattern to put our body at ease so it knows that okay, we're back on schedule. He's not extending the time that we're going to be eating. We're back on program here. So don't skip, eat as usual. Also, too, going back to what you did if you did not sleep well the day before and you're seeing higher numbers, get back onto your sleep routine. Having 2 consecutive nights of less than 6 hours of sleep can definitely throw off your circadian rhythms and can really disrupt your stress hormone regulation. So With that said, get back on track with your sleep. And also, too, make sure that you're incorporating gentle movement so that way you keep your muscles active and they're ready to receive the glucose. So, with that said, don't beat yourself up. Log what happened, reflect, and then put your routine back together. But again, if you're having any troubles with figuring all of this out and you want to get away from the guessing game, this is where you come and circle back with me. And you can hit me up at russpowellnutrition.com/book. And you're able to get on my calendar for us to do a strategy call as well as explore where you need the most support. I appreciate you all for spending time with me on this topic, and I look forward to hearing from you next time.